Watch will solve the MIT hallway chalkboard problem and look closely at the equations. The math is real, but the difficulty level is not what the film claims. These are 15 hidden details you completely missed in Good Will Hunting. Number 15. The hallway chalkboard scene presents Lambeau's posted problem as elite mathematical research far beyond ordinary minds. That framing is false. The second problem, drawing all homeomorphically irreducible trees of size n equals 10, was lifted from a 1959 paper by Harary and Prins and is standard undergraduate combinatorics coursework. Brandeis combinatorialist Ira Gessel confirmed in a 2023 published paper that the problem is quite easy. The answer is exactly 10 trees. Math consultant Patrick O'Donnell, a University of Toronto physicist, handwrote every equation visible on screen and appears in the bar scene at around the 21-minute mark. Look at the drunk Irishman near the counter. That is O'Donnell himself. The math was designed to deceive, and that is just the beginning of what this film hid. Number 14. Will's brutal critique of the watercolor in Sean's therapy office lands like a defining character moment. The painting was created by director Gus Van Sant himself, modeled deliberately on Winslow Homer's 1899 work The Gulf Stream. Van Sant gave the original to actor Robin Williams as a gift after filming it along the lower margin in pencil. It sold at Sotheby's in 2018, estimated between $1,000 and $1,500. The final hammer price was $90,000. Rewatch the final therapy scene and look closely at Sean's office wall. A second, calmer version of the painting appears there with the water now completely still. Almost no one catches the change on first viewing, but it mirrors Will's arc across the entire film. Number 13. The bar confrontation where Will humiliates the ponytailed graduate student feels unmistakably like Cambridge, Massachusetts. The interior was filmed at the now-closed Upfront Bar and Grill at 106 Front Street East in Toronto, Canada. 9 weeks of production took place there because Massachusetts offered no competitive film tax credits in 1997. Location coordinator David Graft confirmed in production interviews that only Southie exteriors and the public garden bench required filming in Boston. Look closely at the bar ceiling and brick tone. During the confrontation, the architecture matches no Cambridge building. The exterior window where Will delivers his most celebrated line is the real Bow and Arrow pub in Cambridge, now closed, and the only genuine Harvard Square element in that sequence. Number 12. The film viewers know as a quiet drama about therapy began as something entirely different. Writer Ben Affleck confirmed in interviews that the original 120-page 1994 draft presented Will as a physics genius pursued by the NSA, with chase sequences modeled on Beverly Hills Cop and Midnight Run. Roughly 60 pages of government thriller material no longer exist in the released film. Nobel laureate Sheldon Glashow advised Affleck and writer Matt Damon during development that physics did not fit the prodigy archetype they were building, which is why Will became a mathematician instead. The single surviving remnant of the original thriller draft is Will's monologue refusing NSA recruitment. Watch that scene knowing it was once surrounded by action sequences and federal surveillance plotlines. Number 11. Agent Patrick Whitesell sold the script to Castle Rock in November 1994 for $675,000 in a 4-day bidding war. When Damon and Affleck refused Castle Rock's preferred director Andrew Scheinman, the studio placed the project in turnaround with a 30-day window. Any studio willing to reimburse roughly $1 million could recast the film without either writer. Most major studios wanted Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio rather than an unknown Damon. Filmmaker Kevin Smith and producer Scott Mosier personally carried the script to Harvey Weinstein at Miramax, who bought it the day after reading it. According to Collider, Smith declined to direct because he felt he lacked the talent the material required. Every scene featuring Damon as Will exists only because that window closed in his favor. Number 10. Convinced studio readers were skimming the script, Damon and Affleck embedded a deliberately jarring out-of-place scene around page 60 of their draft. No Castle Rock executive ever mentioned it during months of development meetings. Weinstein brought it up immediately in their very first conversation and was told, "You are the only one who caught it. You get the film." Weinstein's documented interference landed elsewhere. He opposed casting Minnie Driver as Skylar, preferring actress Ashley Judd for the role, and opposed Van Sant as director, arranging meetings with Michael Mann, Ben Stiller, Mel Gibson, and Chris Columbus first. Watch any scene featuring Driver knowing the studio actively worked to replace her. She remained only because Damon and Affleck refused to compromise on that casting. Number 9. The therapist role was written as what Damon described on the Bill Simmons podcast as the Harvey Keitel part, a limited screen star turn. The character was named Robert because Damon and Affleck had written it hoping Robert De Niro would accept. De Niro passed. Casting director Carrie Barden confirmed to Inverse that Sean Connery was formally offered the role and also declined. Francis Ford Coppola, who had just directed Williams in Jack, passed the script as a personal recommendation. Williams agreed within the week. He negotiated $5 million instead of his $20 million standard quote in exchange for 20% of first dollar gross over $60 million. Miramax assumed that threshold would never be reached. It was, and Weinstein pulled the film from theaters rather than keep paying. Number 8. The second therapy session where Sean recalls his late wife is one of the most beloved scenes in the film. The shooting script had Sean remember his wife turning off an alarm clock. Williams discarded the page and improvised the story that ends with him saying he never had the heart to tell her. Damon's laughter on screen is genuine, confirmed in interviews, because he was not prepared for the improvisation. Editor Pietro Scalia stated in a published interview that he selected Williams's earliest takes throughout the film because later passes lacked the freshness the character required. Watch Damon's face the moment Williams begins the unscripted story. The shift from composed performance to genuine laughter is visible and unperformed. That reaction belongs to Damon, not to his character. Number 7. Williams improvised the last line of the film during what Damon described to Vanity Fair as a session of approximately 60 takes with the camera left running. Damon stated that Williams did something different in every single take. When Williams delivered the line ending with "he stole my line," Damon grabbed Van Sant's shoulders and both knew that take was the one. The 60 take count attaches to this closing scene, not to the bench scene or the "it's not your fault" sequence. Van Sant's documented practice was that Williams wanted a minimum of 7 takes per scene to explore different emotional approaches. Watch the final reaction shot of Sean reading Will's note. That smile and the closing line were not in any version of the shooting script. Number 6. The L Street Tavern at 658 East 8th Street in South Boston was not on the original location list. During production prep, Damon and Affleck brought Williams to the bar. Williams immediately contacted Miramax and insisted the Southie bar scenes be filmed there. Owners Jack and Susan Woods had purchased the bar exactly 4 days before Williams walked in and made that call. The Boston Public Garden bench scene drew more than 3,000 spectators and required Boston police crowd management during filming. The bench itself carries no film recognition plaque. Its only marker reads, "A place for Barbara and her pups to pause." Damon publicly endorsed a bronze statue proposal at that location in August 2024, though a 1988 city moratorium on new monuments has slowed the effort. Number 5. Damon and Affleck did not have a title through most of development. They paid friend Derek Bridgman $10,000 for the rights to his unrelated novel title, Good Will Hunting. Bridgman appears in the film as a student in Lambeau's classroom. Screenwriter William Goldman addressed the ghostwriting rumor at a 2003 Writers Guild of America seminar, with the account preserved in his New York Times obituary. He confirmed he met Damon and Affleck for one day at Rob Reiner's request, supported cutting the thriller subplot, and went home. Goldman stated on record that people do not want to believe those two actors wrote it. Pause any Lambeau classroom scene and look at the background students. Bridgman, the man who sold the film its name, is there. Number 4. For most of development, the film had no workable ending. 2 discarded versions had Will killed in the opening confrontation and Chucky killed in a construction accident. The second idea came from Van Sant himself, which Damon and Affleck wrote out before Van Sant rejected it. The final ending, in which Skylar leaves and Will drives after her, came from a dinner with filmmaker Terrence Malick, who was close to Affleck's family and had not read the script. He offered the suggestion mid-conversation. Van Sant also cut the "How do you like them apples" confrontation from his first assembly edit entirely. The writers restored it after a test screening audience responded strongly. Watch that scene knowing Van Sant originally believed the film was stronger without it. Number 3. The belief that William Goldman secretly wrote Good Will Hunting has circulated for decades. Goldman dismantled it at a 2003 Writers Guild seminar, documented in his published obituary. He confirmed he spent one day with Damon and Affleck at Rob Reiner's request, told them to cut the thriller elements, and left. His own explanation: "People do not want to believe those two actors wrote it." The confusion came from his memoir, where he jokingly claimed full authorship, then added he had also convinced James Cameron to hit an iceberg. Mindy Kaling and Brenda Withers turned the myth into a 2003 New York Fringe play titled Matt and Ben. Watch the "It's Not Your Fault" scene knowing Goldman said he would never have written that moment. Number 2. The origin of this Oscar-winning screenplay is a final assignment in Professor Anthony Kubiak's playwriting workshop at Harvard University. Damon, in his 5th year and 12 credits short of graduation, submitted a 40-page first act of a feature film instead of the required 1-act play. Kubiak gave him a straight A and wrote on the manuscript, "Don't give up on this. Wherever this goes, it's going somewhere." Damon then left Harvard for Geronimo, an American legend, bringing those 40 pages to Affleck's apartment in Los Angeles. Only one scene survived verbatim into the finished film: the first meeting between Will and Sean Maguire. Watch the opening of that therapy session. It is the only moment that exists exactly as written in a Harvard dormitory room. Number 1. Van Sant was Weinstein's final option, not his first. Weinstein arranged meetings with director Michael Mann, Ben Stiller, Mel Gibson, and Chris Columbus before Van Sant received the offer. Mann came closest, completing extensive production prep before Miramax parted ways when he insisted on recasting Will and rewriting the Southie friend group as car thieves. Van Sant agreed to direct for $10 million with Final Cut control as a condition. The film grossed $225.9 million worldwide, surpassing Pulp Fiction as Miramax's most successful release to that point. Williams's back-end gross participation triggered during the run, and Weinstein ended the film's theater presence rather than keep honoring the contract. Every frame Van Sant directed exists only because 5 filmmakers before him declined, demanded rewrites, or required a different lead. Good Will Hunting looks like a quiet story about a young man finding his way. It is also a chase thriller that was stripped apart, a 30-day window that nearly ended everything, and improvised lines that became the most quoted moments in the film. Which hidden detail surprised you most, and what film should we open next?